Sonya's View on this channel. Today I wanted to come on and share with you guys my created version for chicken dressing. Now get this, there is no eggs whatsoever in this chicken dressing. But what we are going to put in it is some seasoned chicken breast. You're going to love this. Now I created this several years ago, like I stated. And normally when I make this dressing, I have to make 4 pans, and that still is not enough. So with that in mind, let's get started. Okay, so here are the items that you're going to need in order to make this dressing. Let me see, can I get a little closer, y'all? Here we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, here are the things that you're going to need in order to make your chicken dressing. I'm going to use 2 different boxes of the Kraft stove top dressing. I'm going to use the savory herbs. That's the first box I'm going to put in my bowl. The second one, I'm going to mix it with this chicken flavored dressing. And then also you want to incorporate your own cornbread. Now I tell you, the best cornbread mix to make, no fuss, no adding eggs and all this, that, the other, is this Martha White, the yellow cornbread mix, muffin mix. Make this and add whatever you want to if you was making your own cornbread. But to put this inside your dressing, you're going to mix it up and bake it within your oven for what, 10-15 minutes? Let's do 15 minutes. We'll say 15 minutes. We'll bake some cornbread, regular cornbread, and we're going to crumble that up inside of the dressing. Now also you're going to incorporate cream of mushrooms. If you like mushrooms, you can put this in there. Now I'm going to taste. We're going to do a 1/2 cup of that cream of mushroom, a 1/2 cup of that cream celery, a whole can. I'm going to use this whole can of cream of chicken. And then, oh, I already did cream of celery, so put that to the side. Okay. Also, we're going to put inside of, okay, I know you're saying, Sonya, we already got the can of cream celery. If you want to, it's optional. You can add both, but I like to add both in my dressing. And this is some diced up celery from the whole stalk of celery. That's the whole stock, so I dice some up. I'm only going to use probably 1/2 cup to a cup of this inside of it as well. But the first thing you want to do before, oh, and one last thing, I'm sorry. This is very important. I know y'all said, Son, you all over the place. You got to have some chicken broth. I'm going to add chicken broth, and I'm going to show you how much. Normally, probably about 2 cups. If you're using 2 boxes of that stove top dressing, you're going to use probably about 2.5 cups of this chicken broth. It doesn't necessarily have to be this brand. I bought this from the dollar store. Okay, so the first thing you want to do, I wanted to do it on camera. It may take a little bit longer with this particular tutorial because I want you to really incorporate everything. And there are some people who need a little bit more teaching per se, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't catch on to things right off the bat myself. This is the cornbread. I have 2 boxes of this Martha White cornbread inside of my bowl. We'll make that cornbread first. So what I'm going to do, I don't have to add any eggs, and like I said, you don't have to add, it's to just add water or milk. Even when you're making your own cornbread, you can use this by itself. So the next thing we want to do is go ahead and let's get some water. Okay, that's a 1/2 cup. I'm probably gonna go with a full cup. Okay, I'm gonna take some margarine. You don't have to do this now. I'm gonna take about a tablespoon of margarine. That's probably about a tablespoon of margarine. Put in there. I'm gonna mix it up very well. Now keep in mind, it's just the cornbread we make. We're gonna make this to go inside of that dressing as well. Now see, that's a cup. You don't need a mixer. You can use your hand with a spoon. You can use a spoon. You just want to mix it up very well. I like to make sure everything is mixed. So normally I mix something for about a minute or 2. Okay, that's good. Let's move this out the way. Okay, so now I need to get like a little small baking pan of some sort. I'm gonna pour it in this. This is clean. It may not look like it, but it's just burnt. I'm gonna pour it in that. But first thing I want to do is coat the pan a little bit so the bread won't stick. It doesn't really matter if it sticks because you're going to scrape it out of the pan anyway. So let's go ahead and just spray the bottom of that with some butter coating spray. We're going to take this cornbread mix we just made from just adding water. And we're going to go ahead and pour that inside of there. Doesn't matter how it goes into the pan. We just need that extra kick of bread to go inside of this dressing. And if you have an old recipe for cornbread mix, you can use that. It doesn't necessarily have to be this box kind. I be trying to make things simple. Okay. Sit that to the side. We're going to put this in the oven on a temperature of like 350 for about 15 minutes. So while that is cooking, let's go ahead and start on our dressing. Make sure everything is clean. Let's bring this large bowl right here. That's our large bowl for our dressing. We're going to open up the savory. It doesn't matter what kind of dressing that you buy at the store. It can be a name brand. It doesn't matter. Okay, now a lot of people are going to say, well, Sonya, do I add any season to it? No, because this mix, this stuffing mix, it has a lot of different herbs in it, a lot of different season in it. And just remember as well, we said we're going to incorporate some chicken breast. And you know what? I forgot to show y'all chicken breast. You're going to need some chicken breast. Now in this bag, I have a bag. I have 2, 4, 6. I'm going to add 6, but on average, you would need no more than 4 chicken breasts. But since I'm making a lot of it, I'm going to add 6 chicken breasts. Now this chicken breast that you see in this bag, on Monday, I cut all the fat off of it. I pre-seasoned. Now this is where I put the season on. I put the season on my chicken breast. I season it down real good. Place this in the oven for about probably 25-30 minutes on a temperature of 350. And then I baked it. And once it baked, this is the broth. This is the natural broth that it had inside of it. I drained the fat from it and just kept the broth. So we're going to put this inside of our dressing as well. But that's going to come a little later. Let's go ahead and add this other box of chicken dressing. Y'all making a mess. This is the second box of dressing mix. And keep in mind, we're waiting on that bread to cook. You got to have that bread to put in there, but we still can go ahead and incorporate everything else while we're waiting on the bread. Now, as I stated, if you want to use the cream of celery alone, you can. But if you're like me, incorporate some chopped fine celery in there as well. They're not going to even know what's in there if you don't tell them. But we're going to go ahead and open this can, which I rinsed the top off. And we're going to do, let me see this can. I'm going to do a half a cup. Yeah, because that one ain't good. That's how it's going to look. That's the cream of celery. No, it's cream of chicken. I'm sorry. Lord, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's the cream of chicken. Well, I've already went ahead to pour in my chicken flavored stuffing mix. And then also I use my savory herbs. I pour that in as well. Because what we're going to do is go ahead and put all the other ingredients inside of this recipe. Now, a lot of people are asking me why the cornbread is cooking. Now, a lot of people may be asking, well, do I put any additional seasoning in it? No, and the reason being because this mix comes with a lot of different seasoning in it. And then we're going to also, as I stated, we're going to incorporate some chicken breast. And this chicken breast, I actually cut all the fat off of it. I season it very well. This is where the additional seasoning is coming in. I season it very well, and I placed it in my freezer until I was ready to make my dressing. But this juice you see here, I drained the fat from it, and this is just a natural chicken broth. We're going to use that as well with the additional chicken broth. But right now, we have that in a bowl. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to add some cream of celery. Now, if you want to, it's optional. If you don't like celery, you don't have to put the celery inside of it. But I'm going to do 2 versions. I'm going to do a half a can of the cream of celery, and then I'm going to do a half a cup or a cup of the chopped celery that I diced very well. So let's go ahead and incorporate that. I'm going to use half of this can. That's half. Then I'm going to do, that's roughly about another half. But since we like it, I'm going to use a whole cup. But on average, you can use half celery in the can and set half of it chopped. The next thing I want to incorporate would be my cream of mushroom. Now, if you don't like mushrooms, don't add the mushroom. All these things I'm putting in here is optional, but in order for it to be really, really good, give it a try, and I promise you're going to like it. This is the cream of mushroom. It's not going to even taste it. If you don't tell them, they won't know it's in there. We're going to do a half a cup. That's a half a cup of mushroom. The next thing we're going to put in there is a whole can of cream of chicken. So just go ahead and dump that whole can in there. Okay. Now see, while I'm talking to you guys and giving you the instructions on how to make this, the cornbread is almost ready. Let's go ahead and add our chicken to it. Let's push that back to the side. Let me clean up some of my mess right quick. Okay, so now we're going to do the chicken breast I made earlier. I really made a couple of days ago for this. I'm going to take that chicken breast out. And the seasoning that I used on my chicken breast was a little garlic. I used some onion powder. I used some Mrs. Dash table seasoning, which it has no salt in it. And I use a little black pepper, and that's it. So now we're going to take this chicken breast. Pretty much want to dice it up. You don't want it. And people, please believe, I got a cutting board. I like to do stuff simple. I can pull it out, but I prefer not to. We're going to take that chicken breast, and you just want to dice it. It's going to come up all kind of ways, or you can take your hand and rip it up. Don't matter. So if you don't want to use a knife, just take it and pull it apart. It should look like that. You want some fairly, let me put this in the sink. You want some fairly nice sized chicken breast. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that over into my bowl. Into the bowl. That's one chicken breast. Let me do these other ones right quick. Let's go ahead and just pull it. Do you see that juice coming off that chicken? Now you know you gotta make sure your hand clean to do that part. Let's pull that over some. You make this right here. Like I said, you can serve this as a meal by itself. You're gonna love this one. Okay, of that was 3 chicken breasts. Do you see that juice coming out that chicken? Okay, that was 3. That was 4. And now I'm gonna take the juice. I'm gonna save my other 2 chickens for something else. Pour all that good flavoring, all that's your seasoning. Pour all that inside that bowl. That's 4. That's 4. Now, if you was cooking just enough for a small family of probably 6, that would be enough chicken. But since I'm cooking a lot, I'm gonna go ahead add these last two. Look at that juice. Look at all that good juice. And the last chicken breast. This makes 6. Go ahead and pull that meat apart real good. Make sure I get all my juice. That's all my juice. Clean my mess up. I'm gonna go ahead and check on my cornbread and see if it's ready. So the last 2 things we have to add would be that cornbread and that chicken broth. That cornbread is gonna need probably about a good another 2 to 3 minutes. While we're waiting, you know what? We can go ahead and add this. It doesn't matter when you add it, really. This is a measuring device and it's 1 cup. We're gonna take that chicken broth. When you buy your chicken broth, make sure you just shake it up very well. Shake it up very well. That's the chicken broth. Now we're gonna go ahead and add the chicken broth. That's 1 cup. You're gonna add anywhere from 2 to 2.5 cups. Let's wait a few seconds on that bread. We're gonna add that cornbread to that, and we're gonna place that in the oven. Okay, so here's the cornbread I just made. Now, if I was serving this, I would have glazed it with some butter, but we're not gonna serve it, so we're gonna incorporate it inside of our dressing. It's very hot, so what you wanna do, let me get a larger size spoon. I'm gonna take this spoon and go into my cornbread and just put it on top of there. And see, that's why you may have to add a little bit more of that chicken broth, because when you get to adding this cornbread, it's going to become a lot, and it's going to need a little bit more moisture to it. We already added 2 cups of chicken broth. Okay, that took up all that cornbread. I used all the cornbread. I'm going to go ahead and sit this to the side. So looking at this, it's not going to be, that's going to be enough. So let's go ahead and incorporate some more chicken broth. Normally when I cook, I don't measure. I just put in because I know pretty much what to put in there. But when you're trying to teach somebody else how to do it, I want you to do it the correct way until you catch on to it, and then you can begin to do the same thing. Let's go ahead and add another cup. We did 2. That's 3. That's 4 cups. That is the whole container, and it took 5 cups of this chicken broth. So within this carton, it was 5 cups of chicken broth. Now, if you was cooking for a smaller setting of probably 2 or 3 people, you would only need to make 1 box of the cornbread mix, 2 boxes of the stovetop stuffing, 3 potatoes, 3 chicken breasts, and half a can of everything else I told you about. Now what you want to do is mix everything very well. This one of these meal you want to mix up very well, because you want the chicken to be throughout, and then you want that the rest of that to be mixed in very well. You don't have to use a small spoon, you can use a larger size spoon, but you want to incorporate that cornbread with that box stuffing very well. Reach down at the bottom very well. No season. Remember, you don't have to add any more season. I'm going to go ahead and mix this up very well off camera, but I'm not going to add anything else to it. And I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I mixed that very well. Look at the chunks of chicken inside. That's chicken. I'm going to leave the recipe down below in case you want to make this. And remember, if you're making smaller servings and it's not going to be that many people, just do half of what we did here. Pretty much half. Okay, this is all of my dressing that I had. I'm taking it out of the bowl and putting it inside of this container. Say for instance you wanted to make some dressing and put it up for later, you can either put this up frozen like this in the raw form, or you can go ahead and cook you some and put it up for another meal. Okay, that's my dressing. I'm gonna place this in the refrigerator because Thanksgiving is tomorrow and I'm not gonna cook this until in the morning. I don't want to cook this yet. Okay, so here's my fully cooked, homemade, no egg chicken dressing that I created. When I tell you, you're going to want to try this recipe, you're going to love it. It has chunks of chicken inside, along with some other ingredients inside. As you can see, I've taken a little bit from the side. I wanted to taste it, so I took a little bit from the side. But you're going to love this, so please try this out for your next holiday meal, or you can serve it as a meal within itself. So you don't necessarily have to put it as a side dish. You can actually serve this as a meal because it has chicken inside. So here's the final platter for the no egg chicken dressing. As you can see, you can serve it with or without gravy. I love it without gravy, so enjoy. Do you see those chunks of chicken inside of there? That is delicious. So I hope you've enjoyed the time we've shared together. Until next time, be blessed.
Oh, it's true.